Hello again, everyone. Melth here with another Advanced Wars by Web Global League game. It's another Tier 1 match, the third of three that I've played recently, which have been a nice break from how almost everything up until that point was Tier 2. Now this map that I'm playing on this time, Scavenger, is quite a well-known one. I'm not surprised to be playing a game on it after having been playing for a while, since it's almost always in the Global League rotation. Classic. I don't really enjoy it much, to be honest. I'm not saying it's bad, I just think it's kind of mediocre. It's a fairly generic and bland Fog of War map. It has, I think, a kind of mixed reputation despite being a classic, in part because it has a reputation for stalling, which it doesn't always do, but it does sometimes seem to, especially in mirror matches. And I think there are a couple of reasons that happens sometimes. One of those reasons is just that the middle of the map has a lot of terrible terrain. Just tons of shoals, roads, plains are mediocre at best, and so there's not much cover to use to build walls on or advance to the middle or take any ground that way. If you want to try to take one of these cities over, you can't wall for your capturer. So that's part of it, but that's not all of it. I think a bigger problem is that there aren't really many contested properties to begin with. Now that might sound crazy looking at this map. There's a whole line, it looks like, of diagonal properties through the middle, all the way across. But here's the thing. Once you break this pipe seam, which should be one of your top priorities, probably for some matchups should be your top priority, this city ceases to be contestable. Because for the pink player, once this pipe seam is broken, it takes you 2 turns not to attack this city, but to stand a tank on this city, and this base down here can attack onto the city in 2 turns. Whereas over here, if you're trying to take over the city as purple, it is 3 turns for these bases to get there. So the defensive player has a massive advantage. Trying to take the city becomes overextension. If the opponent happens to leave it unguarded, yeah, you might be able to take it over. If a sustained fight happens there, no, you will lose trying to take that over. Unless your CO is overwhelmingly strong and good at day-to-day fighting, then you might have a chance, but again, it's just not an easy property to take. And this one, exact same thing. This base here reinforces it so fast once the pipe seam is broken that you just don't really have a chance against it on offense, if they're reinforcing it at all. Now these 2 properties over here, now we're talking. But even here, even if you make this your strong side, for purple, heading to the left or whatever, you don't have an advantage there. You're just equal with their speed from going from this base, which is decently well positioned, and this base, wasting a square going out that way then back. Like, they can still get there pretty fast. Not to mention their airport is at that point getting fairly close. It's about equal with yours, if you were happy your guys go that way anyway. So it just... a lot of the properties on the map are, at best, tied in terms of the offensive player being equal to the defender, and a lot of the time the defender just has a clear advantage. Whereas on many maps, you have a natural strong side that will be able to just make some progress against the enemy. That's just not the case here. I also don't love this map in that I feel like there's only really one valid capture order. Anything else is just inferior. And it's not a really clever one either, necessarily. There is maybe one consideration, which is how fast to go for your airport, and I would say the answer is usually not very fast, because the airport is way in the back, and there's not much cover for copters to use, so, copters are always a useful addition to an army, even on maps where they're just not great. Like, they still open up new avenues of attack, they can hide behind these Cs and whatnot. There's still times when they're good, but copters are comparatively weak here, especially after some of the other Fog of War maps we've been playing lately, like Chosen Reservoir and whatnot, where the airport's being super far forward means that copters are really fast to reinforce. Now, I also don't think there's much diversity of openers on this map. Some people try to do recon harassment here, and you know what, I will say, if you try to build a recon, say, on the early days on this bottom base, and send it hugging the bottom of the map toward this corner, you know what, you might get some successful harassment done that way. Sometimes. Because the opponent wants to be spending the resources up here breaking this pipe seam, and therefore probably won't send a tank down that way as their first priority. But most people who see trying to do a recon rush on this map send their recon into the middle and up over here. That is a horrible idea. It will always fail. Even if the opponent is being greedy and doesn't build a tank until like day 6, you will not even get like 1 free hit on a capturing infantry doing that. It's just, it will not work against a competent opponent. It probably won't even work against an incompetent opponent. But people try it anyway and they just fail every time I've seen it. don't try a day 3 recon rushing from, into the middle there. It's just not going to work. And given that, I think that if you don't want to, rush to the corner, the only real valid opener is to try to break this pipe seam pretty fast. If your CO is bad with artillery, then maybe think about doing something else. If your CO is mediocre with artillery, maybe delay it till you at least get the comm tower, then it's more efficient to break it. But even then, I might consider just breaking it as one of your top priorities. It's so good to break that pipe seam and unlock this base. It speeds this base up by like an entire turn, pretty much. It's incredible. So, anyway, Hawke is also pretty much the only valid CO in Tier 1. Von Bolt does terribly on this map because it's not really a brawly map. It tends to be more defensive. He hates that. So it's pretty much a Hawke mirror. I was not surprised by that. What I was surprised by was how well Palmer played. I gravely underestimated Palmer. And I think I really paid for that, and this was one of my toughest matches. Let's get into it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, from what I've observed up until this point, every single one of Palmer's games that I looked at quite a few. Palmer always did a turn 3 recon opener, followed usually by another recon on day 4 or 5, rushing the opponent, no matter how likely they were to have a tank, and just the recons would die and it would be for nothing. And so I thought, well, he always does that. I'll plan around that. And so I planned to counter recons. But Palmer didn't do that this time. Palmer radically changed strategies for this game. And I think, in not just this game, but every game I've seen Palmer do after that, has just massively improved. So congratulations to Palmer. I would say just one of the biggest improvements I've ever seen of any player in Advanced Wars by Web. Pretty much overnight it seemed too. Anyways, I'm just going to save up. I know that a recon is not a threat in this map. I don't need to bother counting one until like day 6, so I'm not going to. I'll just save my money, get more infantry out, and then get an artillery to break the pipe seam. But Palmer is being smart and is not getting a recon. Our capture orders are basically the same. As I said, there's pretty much only one valid capture order. Everything else is inferior. With the one exception that here in this day I could have had that guy go back to the airport. And that's worth consideration, at least. I think this is usually superior. So, didn't try that. So Palmer is going for the airport a little bit earlier. That's fine. It's the only real choice you get to make with your capture order here. And goes for a tank as the first vehicle. I'm not so sure I agree with that one. True, it would deflect a recon rush if I was doing one, but so would like a day 6 tank, so I go for an artillery as my first vehicle because I know, again, I don't need to defend against a recon up here until like next turn. A tank built next turn will be just fine. I don't love this move here at the tank. There are trade-offs. I'm not saying it's a bad move. I don't love it though. I think if this tank's job was to protect against a recon, it could do that just fine while being back here and shooting the pipe seam. And that would be a massive help for breaking the pipe seam, which Palmer is going to try to do. That would have helped Palmer a fair amount. Downside, that would reveal to me that he has a tank, because you can see pipe HP in Fog of War. So on my turn, I will see if this pipe takes any damage, and I would have seen, oh hey, it took the amount of damage a tank would do. He has a tank, and it's right there. That means he did not build a recon, or whatever. So that would be useful intelligence for me to have, but it would also help Palmer. So maybe this is okay to not get that information away yet, but it is a trade-off at least. I would also say I think it's just not really doing much out here. I don't quite know what the plan was for this tank. I did talk to Palmer after this game. I usually talk to my opponent to get some of Palmer's information. And, Palmer said that his plan basically was just to break the pipe seam, so I'm not sure what this tank was really about, given that. Anyway, gets an artillery now that will break the pipe seam just fine. So on my turn, I do not go for the comm tower yet. Notice I could have done that, I pass it up. A lot of people, I think, prioritize going for comm towers too much. Now, I go for them quite early sometimes myself, if my strategy calls for that. If I need to do some early attacks, or if my goal is to get both comm towers early or something like that, yeah, I'll go for the comm tower early. But remember, your capture order should be part of a cohesive overall strategy. Right now, I do not intend to do any attacks other than against the pipe seam. So I don't need a comm tower, because I'm Hawke. I already have 10% bonus attack. And furthermore, because I know I don't have a tank here, if I was to go for that capture, this is basically the one thing a recon could actually harass. If I walk into that forest, I am invincible with recon time. He can attack me over here, and I'd just repair the damage immediately, and that would be a heck of a risk to take. To attack an infantry that will just heal up, not even interrupt a capture, and just pray the opponent doesn't have a tank there. So basically, if I don't go into that comm tower, a recon is helpless against me. So that's what I'm going to do, and that gives me this more valuable property over here sooner. So I think that's just kind of a smart move. And here I get a tank, which will be in time to reinforce me, and also help break the pipe seam. It all worked out pretty well. So, Palmer does get the comm tower, and Palmer will be using it to help break the pipe seam. So I think for Palmer that makes sense, but there is an economic cost to that, you know? We're not doing a lot of fighting right now. It probably would have worked just as well to have this tank soften up the pipe instead of going for the comm tower. And that tank, it's being pretty aggressive. It could have been revealed to have a recon in the middle or something like that at this point. And it's not really doing much there because I guess I could have a recon on that city, so maybe it's trying to scout for that. You know, it's okay, I guess, but I probably would have kept it a bit back and tried to be sneaky with it. I don't feel like this really accomplishes that much. He gets another tank, that's perfectly solid. So on my turn, I now begin capturing the comm tower, now that I'm going to have tank coverage. I was afraid about a recon hitting me down here. It was quite possible, but you know, the trade-off of my strategy was I would be able to beat recons up here, which is the most common recon direction, will also open up the pipe seam for a great mid to late game. I had to just kind of run the risk of recon harassing me down here, and it hasn't been happening so far, so that's nice. And here, you can't see me doing damage to this thing, but I've almost broken the pipe seam. One more shot will break it. And so therefore I now build a recon that can just speed out of here. Once the pipe seam is broken, it can go so fast along these roads, get right in the middle, reveal lots of things, and then be ready to harass over here. My strategy this time is, I want to take one of the middle properties, break the pipe seam. I was thinking that Palmer probably would not break the pipe seam. And if he did not break the pipe seam, I would just win based on that, pretty much. Like, a recon is useless as a harasser here. I would just kill his recon, I'd break the pipe seam. I didn't think he would, because Palmer doesn't use the break pipe seam before I've seen up until this point. And just based on those faster reinforcements, game over, automatically. But Palmer is being very smart here and is going to break the pipe seam. So that means that we're now going to be kind of mirrored in that way. So once I find that out, my plan instead is, okay, well, try to take one middle property, and then try to take some of these properties here and make this my strong side. Go on the offense. So Palmer begins a lot of captures, and I was being a little bit greedy walking this guy here. Here was my thing. True, I don't have tank backup right now, but I'm getting some good information scouting that thing. I now know that he is capturing that property rather than this one. Either one was possible. If he'd gone over here, I could have just maybe captured this thing for free. If he does go here, I can now interrupt him possibly and have vehicle backup next time. The only way this could lose is if, as he actually has, he has a tank right there, which did not seem very probable, but he does have one. So now actually, he's in a great position. Here's the thing, again, you can see pipe seam HP in the fog. So Palmer can look right over right now and see the damage this pipe seam has taken, and know that it is at 39 HP. And that just means mathematically the only possibility is I hit it with an artillery and a tank. It's the obvious answer, it's the only sensible answer, it fits the numbers, artillery, tank. Which means I cannot have a tank anywhere else on the map. It is impossible. Which means, if his tank attacked this infantry, 100% safe guaranteed. Just a devastating free hit that would not just ruin this infantry for life, but also protect this infantry perfectly. So that would be a fantastic move at this point, would really set me back. So, I was too aggressive there, but luckily for me, Palmer I think makes a mistake there and pulls back instead. Palmer does however make a good and unexpected move here, getting that battle copter out. And also, these infantry here, they're attacking the pipe seam. I don't love that, this slows them down a lot, but the thing is, if you have 20% attack power bonus, which Palmer now has, your artillery does 48 damage per shot at 99 HP to the pipe seam. Infantry do 1%, and so it becomes decently efficient if infantry chip at the pipe seam, compared to having a tank slow down and do that, but again, there is a serious cost to be paid for that. You're not breaking the pipe seam any faster, and you are having a bunch of infantry that could be out capturing and killing infantry just kind of balled up. It's not awful, but there is a real price to be paid. I think it may have better to just have this tank soften the thing up, and then you can break it without having infantry get tied up there. In any case, Palmer got early battlecopter. That is unusual, and making unusual moves is a good choice. I've almost never seen Palmer do early battlecopter, so I was definitely not expecting that this time. Alright, so, here I think pretty carefully. I scout, nothing in the middle, that's not unexpected. And then I thought, you know what? The obvious move is to capture this comm tower. But I'm still not really doing any fighting. The comm tower is not even remotely contestable. If he tries to take this thing from me, I welcome that. I will pulverize whatever unit comes in here at this point. I can delay this for another turn if I want to, and if I do that, the reward is quite high. Because these middle properties, like, they're only grabbable now. Once this pipe seam breaks, these reinforcements will be too fast, I'll never be able to take that city. But if I take it now, maybe I've got a chance to put an artillery into this forest and hold it. Just maybe. And in a mirror matchup, on a stalling map, I need some way to have an advantage to end the game. So I think, okay, I'm actually going to cancel this comm tower, walk into that forest, and try to capture one of these since it's right with his property, and therefore get an advantage. And I'll have the comm tower next turn. So I lose out for this one attack. It is well worth being a little bit worse than one infantry engagement to get another 1,000 money or something like that, or better yet, getting the property you'll never get in another time. Definitely a worthwhile trade. And back myself up here, and I've got plenty of vehicles, so if he chooses to attack me over here, I've got him at this point. And I've got tanks ready to come through the breach here. Once this pipe seam is breached, this is your best base. Always build your best vehicle from that spot. And then you can build a tank over here if you want to. You know, my thinking at this point is, I haven't seen a recon harass me over here. I am seeing his pipe seam take damage, but he might still have a recon tank coming over here. I better have a defense against that. That is where I'm weak right now. That's where I would be helpless if he just came charging in. I better have your defense done that. Over here, I'm going to be okay. Okay, so, Palmer, you know, one thing I don't love is walking infantry right next to that city there. Because it is possible for you to have something like a recon pretty well advanced. I could potentially come out of the fog and just shoot him while being on the city and get great terrain. You notice I often stop 2 squares short of the cities on my side so I can scout them without easily being seen and without getting the chance to drive up on a good terrain and get me attack on me from good terrain. If he wants to attack me, he must do so from bad terrain. I think that's worth doing on this mission. So there he gets a kill against me. I want to point out one thing here about the Hawke mirror match. The Hawke mirror match is a really volatile one. We both have attack bonuses to every single unit all the time, and no one has any defense bonuses. And on this map, the terrain is bad too. I really underestimated just how deadly attacks would be in this game. Yeah, I'm used to mostly tier 2 matches where you have advantages on only some attacks, not all attacks. And I'm used to maps where there's better terrain, or they're playing as Von Bolt, things like that. So I was not ready for how fast things were dying on both sides here, really. One thing I wasn't really thinking about is, so normally with 10% attack power each, if you drive up with an infantry and attack an enemy infantry on a city, just one, and then they have a first infantry attack you, you will not die. There's a chance, but it's an absolutely tiny chance. But with the Hawke versus Hawke matchup, if you do like, infantry versus an infantry on a city, and you're on a plane attacking, and then they have another fresh infantry walk up and attack you, it's a coin flip whether you live or die. And that is a really important coin flip suddenly. Because a 1 HP infantry can still scout, can still block, incredibly valuable in Fog of War. A dead infantry is a major liability in comparison. So something that coin flip makes a world of difference. And I wasn't quite ready for that because I'm just more used to the engagement where you are pretty much guaranteed to live. Okay, so here, plays it somewhat cautious, killed my infantry, drives onto the city here. Well, that's solid. Grab the good terrain there. This is not really a long-term contestable city, but it is for a little bit longer because just broke the pipe seam. So maybe can delay that. It's an okay move at least. Gets another battle copter, and I agree with this. Copters are good support for copters. If you have a lot of helicopters, enemy battle copters can't really counter you. Only their anti-airs can. So until I get an anti-air out, it's a pretty good choice. And it's unexpected too. But I will say, one reason it's unexpected is that it's not really strategically a good fit with the rest of what he's doing. Tactically, yes, could give him an advantage, but he invested a lot of resources trying to break this pipe seam early, and he's literally not using it at all. Like, he has not sent a vehicle through this gap, and he's not going to do one next turn either. I've already sent multiple vehicles through my pipe seam gap. So, on my side, the strategy all fit together. The capture order, the vehicles that I built, when I broke the pipe seam, everything fit into one cohesive whole. On Palmer's side, I don't think that's there. He's making moves that are tactically good, like breaking the pipe seam, like getting a battlecopter out, but they don't really quite fit. Which, I will say, worked out in Palmer's favor, though, because I was thinking, well, if he broke the pipe seam, he's probably building tanks out of there rather than copters, because otherwise why would he break the pipe seam? So, I was a bit off guard for that. So down there, I simultaneously scout and kill off that guy, and I think I can maybe make an actual play to take this city now, because I can see there's nothing here. And this is going to be my city pretty much guaranteed in the long term, so maybe I can get a real advantage here. It feels pretty good, especially if I kill off that tank that's otherwise a threat. scout there without walking next to a city so he can't get a free hit on me from him having a city. And there I killed a guy to clear a path, and I thought, I can have my tank attack from here on this side. Or from over here on this side. Or I could have done things differently and I could have cleared this infantry off and then attacked from the shoal. But what I was thinking was, attacking from this side is a terrible idea. Because that is deep into his territory. And in particular, assuming he had built a tank and had to go through the pipe scene, he'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next turn he can now go 2, 4, 5, 6, attack. So being here would be a horrible location for me to be in. It's just that the most obvious possible spot for him to have a tank, I would get wrecked. Being over here is hopefully out of range. Depending on when he built his tanks, I could be safe. The funny thing though is, he actually had a tank in kind of an off, weird position over here that I was just not ready for. You know, it doesn't really make sense for a tank to be over there compared to it being over here or in this forest or something like that. If it was in the forest, it could still help me no matter what. But just the funny thing is, it would actually have been safe attacking from the dumb side here. Now, I don't do that because that would have been a bad move, but it would have actually worked out well here. So there I attack and I inadvertently walk into his range. And I get, not great luck rolls there, but, whatever, that's fine. I don't really expect to win this immediate engagement. I just expect, if he fights here in the long term, it is still close to my reinforcements, I will guaranteed win eventually. So I'm fine to fight some engagements that are mediocre at first. I've got tons of tank backup coming in, even more coming in, but here I make, I think, my biggest mistake of the entire game. I build a T-Copter. Now, I love T-Copters. T-Copters are great on many maps. I think I would say that I'm pretty good with them too. I usually play with them very well, get lots of boosts, get lots of important captures with them, and they usually fit together as part of my plan in a way that makes sense. Now, the reason I built this T-Copter is I'm thinking, for a long-term defensive, solid kind of game, a T-Copter is wonderful. It's one of the few ways to get infantry to the front lines after the initial wave of infantry just get killed off, and then start capturing some things. And this corner property here is really, really hard to steal unless you have a T-Copter. Not only is it just hard to get infantry to walk all the way over here to begin with, but also, the enemy can often come in here and attack you as you try to capture it, and you can't reinforce yourself, because, let's say they have an infantry vehicle over here, and you're capturing this property, you can't get your vehicle over there to kill them off. But if you have a T-Copter, now you've got options. Your T-Copter can easily fly over here, block that spot and drop up over there, or fly into the mountains with an infantry that's down, here, can't even attack you, things like that. You have options to capture the property. So I'm thinking for a long-term stally kind of game, this could give me the advantage. And you know what? That's true. But this is absolutely not the time to build it. This was just stupid. Because I have no anti-air defenses at this point. And this is a good turn to build an anti-air. The money would work out perfectly. And it's not a good turn to build a T-Copter. The T-Copter is going to accomplish absolutely nothing, because the positioning of the airport is garbage. And I knew that, and I thought that'll be okay over the long term. And yeah, over the long term it's okay, but the short term is happening right now, and I'm losing the short term because I'm not building an anti-air. You'll see just how bad the T-Copter is in the coming turns. It's the worst T-Copter I've ever built. And the fact that I don't have an anti-air is going to be just deadly. Alright, so Palmer gets a great first strike there, but he is fighting into my super fast reinforcements. That is not good for him in the long term. I can see those captures happening. I've got some ways to attack them. His battlecopters are coming in. I don't see them, so that's good for him. But they're kind of a delayed reinforcement, but just he had tanks coming in at full speed. I know where his artillery is, of course. I knew what it was doing, so I knew it would be here this turn anyway. So he's not really revealing it. I knew where it was, so what it would be doing. Builds a third copter and gets another tank here. Now, I just want you to note that Palmer is really concentrating forces. And I could tell this immediately. Okay, all the vehicles are coming this way. Clearly, Palmer intends to make this the strong side and just go all in over here, which is kind of what I was planning to do over here once I got one of these middle properties. So, yeah, that makes sense. And I need to counter that because I'm going to be a little bit delayed getting over here with my guys, so I can't really just mirror him, or I will be a bit behind. But I'm also okay with the way things are unfolding so far, because I know this artillery does not cover anything, so I can kill this tank pretty easily. I can slam that tank pretty easily. If he keeps reinforcing with tanks, I can overcome him easily with me having faster reinforcements, so that's fine as far as I'm concerned. And I know I'm going to get these middle properties, and I'm going to harass him over there better than he's harassing me. So this is going pretty well here. I don't love having to have infantry to scout that tank. I didn't love having my tank get killed, but that's the way it is. Here's the initial luck rolls. So here I think, I've mentioned before, it is really, really important to present the maximum number of simultaneous threats and things to deal with. Doing something like 3 captures in a turn where no vehicles are showing is effortless for the opponent to stop. They can just have infantry walk up and shoot you and it's all over. Having 3 vehicles come up in a turn where there are no infantry capturing is usually pretty effortless for the enemy to stop, too. They can just have their vehicles drive up and attack you. But if I threaten 3 captures and also have a bunch of vehicles fighting him, that could start overwhelming him. So that was my plan here. Capture 3 things and also engage multiple vehicles up at the same time. And bring in that artillery too, that he wants to attack that thing. And if he had nothing but tanks here, as I'm expecting, or maybe a battlecopter back there, but not up here, this would, I think, be a winning move, and a winning position, really. I'm ahead of him over here, I've got the middle coming in, with these properties coming in, and if he tried to attack me with tanks over here, yeah, he could break through and attack the artillery, and then I would just wreck him with tanks. He'd fall way behind in value, and way behind on properties too. But he's got a battlecopter in just the right position. Now, I recognize I need to get some anti-airs and so forth, so I get an anti-air, I get a battlecopter, but it's too late. I had to have this last turn. Imagine if I had built this anti-air last turn, and if it was standing here and maybe this tank was over there, or vice versa. If the anti-air is here, that's also fine, really. Because he has to break through this side, it's the only feasible side, and I could then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and straight. But I didn't do that. I built this T-copter, and the opportunity cost is horrifying. Alright, so I did 9-1 property there, that's nice. He knows he's infantry coming and no vehicles, so... And I also kind of know he's infantry and no vehicles, just given what I'm seeing over here. There, he gets the breakthrough, and bam, he has a helicopter command. Most important unit on that front is now ruined. And I have no recourse whatsoever. I don't think I have ever felt so bad about the way the move went as I did about this one. This was just devastating. I just instantly went from feeling like I am winning this to I am losing and must find a way to dig myself out of this hole. Because I lost the most important unit and I have no counterattack available. Not just that, this also splits my forces completely. Like, this is a great position. Now, my guys over here, they can't shift over here to fight anything. They're blocked completely. My guys over here can't shift over there. Like, they're just blocked. There's nobody to reinforce, nobody to consolidate. My forces are split, and my artillery is ruined, and I just can't counter the copter. So, beautiful move by Palmer there. One of the best moves of the game. Fantastic work. But, I would say, if I had an anti-air, here for example, this would be the game-losing move. Because now I would just, on my turn, kill that copter, kill the tank easily, kill the artillery that's about to walk up, and he'd have nothing behind him. Like, there's nothing behind him. He can't attack the anti-air, this copter would be invalidated, I get all these captures, that would be game over on turn 11, basically. So, fortunately for him, I did not have an anti-air. He took an intelligent, calculated risk, and it paid off handsomely, so he did very well there. Alright, so I do get these cities at least. I know I'm doing quite poorly on engagements, but I'm doing well on captures. I know that he is behind me by 4,000. Given where I saw his vehicles, I know his infantry capture order had to be here too. I haven't really mentioned this explicitly, but ever since I did that, Max vs. Eagle game, I am always looking at enemy fuel counts and reverse engineering what the capture order has to have been and what turn they built everything on. And it is really paying off a lot, I'm not boring you with the details of that. It's a super powerful technique, I do highly recommend it. But anyway, so here I mentioned that in this Hawke versus Hawke matchup, it's basically a coin flip if your infantry lives or dies from this kind of attack. If I attack him like that, we'll lose him either 6 HP or 5 HP, and then if he has infantry, as he has over there, come up and attack me, basically a coin flip. You can do the math. But every single time in this game, it goes against me. I'm shifting away here because I know that he is going to have a guy thereabouts. I don't want to give him an easy target, so that's my plan there. Consolidate. I've got these things I want to start fighting over there where the combat is. And there I just try to fake him out a bit, driving loops. So I try to make it non-obvious what I'm doing because I don't have a way to defend against him. And I'm just trying to think, what is the least worst option that I can do here? Everything that I have at this point sucks. He's completely invalidated my initial plan. I need to scramble to think of a new one. And my thought is, well, I know he's got nothing over here. So even a single tank over 2 over here will obliterate his infantry and allow me to maybe do a decent push there. T-Copter will help out with that too. It's not in a great position, but it will get infantry over there in the long term. I can maybe then take these properties. And I need to do something with it anyway because this tank, it can't get over there. It is blocked. So it makes some sense to do that. And over here to try to buy time, get the anti-air in, and hopefully try to lure him into a fight over deep in here where I can reinforce too fast. That can allow me to turn things around there. Meanwhile, though, what I can't allow is for him to capture these cities here. If he gets the big incomplete against me, it might be all over in the long term. So, how do I stop that? Well, what I thought is, 2 each per artillery can't do much, but if I stand it here, he can shoot at that city or that city. I can't stop him killing these infantry if he wants to. He has an artillery pointed at them, he has tons of infantry pointed at them, so he can kill them and start the capture. But if I've got an artillery back there, I can delay one of those captures by 1 crucial turn, which is doing 1 HP of damage to an infantry, guaranteed. That is enough. That is a world of difference to bring in more reinforcements for my super fast reinforcement routes. That will buy me some time to work with here. So I can basically deny either of these properties for the short term. He can get 2 captures going simultaneously. I can stop only one of them that way, but like, it gives me a lot of needed breathing room. Also, he can see me doing it. Artillery, as I mentioned, are kind of good people bait. People often will try to attack them even if they're not really the most strategically important priority. There is a good chance that he's seeing this thing will sacrifice some vehicles to try to kill it. Maybe be overconfident, think his copter is invincible because it got away with this 1 turn. So that's what I'm hoping will happen. That he'll get aggressive and expose that copter and I can then kill it. And killing off a copter for losing like 2 HP of an artillery, well worth it. I also want to note just here on the T-copter being worthless front, get some boost there. I used the T-copter the best I could, but like, notice the spacing of the T-copters on this map is just horrible. You don't get here in time to reinforce an attack on those cities. You just don't. Everything about his position is just the worst. T-copter from here going 6 squares, you can't get a boost in any infantry on the first turn, you can't pick out any up infantry efficiently on the second turn, nothing. It's not efficient anywhere, and even on the third turn dropping people off, you still can't really threaten any important captures. I should not have built this T-copter until much later in the game. Alright, so there, I'm just forced to pull back and think, okay, well, he'll make some progress over there, but if I make progress over here, and I'm ahead of him on income right now, I've got a fighting chance. And I'm going to hopefully, delay some of these properties over here, especially if I realize right now he can threaten this city, and my artillery does not lock it down. I have to expose vehicles to stop that capture, basically, if he did it right. I can't have that. I just have to sacrifice an infantry to just delay the only guy that can capture that property. So drive up, attack that guy. Only he's the range to start the capture, and now he can't do that. So now these properties are all safe for 1 more turn, at least while bringing reinforcements. At the cost of this guy dying, but I think it's well worth it to be dying on offense over here for an important engagement. In my anti-airs and so forth are coming in, I'm getting more tanks. And recon's really reinforced quite fast in this base. There's 1 force in the way, but then it's just like a straight shot in the middle across all these shoals and cities. It's incredible speed for a recon. It's even faster than coming out of this base, really. I mean, well, it's comparable to that base, but this base is super good for tanks and whatnot, whereas this one is really not. So, recon out of this base is a great way to do a scout. I think this is a good choice. Alright, so, Palmer's turn. And he gets all the infantry killing engagements of other coin flips. All of them. So now I'm just down all my infantry over there. If I had a single 1 HP guy there just scouting, that would be incredible. Like if this guy lived at 1 HP, I could then now go, walk over and reveal something important in the next turn, but I can't do that anymore. So that hurts. I don't love this B-copter attack. I feel like it reveals a B-copter for not much gain there. I don't like that. Now I know he's got 2 copters instead of just 1. He must have thought the same thing about his recon. Good choice there. And here, yep, he's exposing multiple vehicles, as I hoped he would, to break through there. He's getting overconfident. He's reason to be confident, but he's getting overconfident. And again, just note, he really is going pretty much all in over on this side. It is now day 12, and he's building his first vehicle that's intended to go to this front. Concentrating forces is very valuable in this game. But, even with that, there are diminishing marginal returns. Your first tank on a front increases your combat power by infinity %. Well, my point here basically is that Palmer is super vulnerable to tanks coming in at this point. Like, the infantry engagements all went his way, and that's going to keep him in the game here. If it wasn't for that, I would just wipe him out this turn and he would lose too much stuff for nothing. So that's great, good engagements for you there. And here I decide, you know what, I know where his artillery is, because I know it's shot. I know this force basically has to be empty. This is my chance. I lost my artillery, I need to kill his too. Even if it costs me something. Like, he sacrificed a lot to kill my artillery, I'm going to sacrifice a bunch to kill his artillery. That'll be even. And you know what? Even trades are fine and good when I have more properties than he does, which is what I've got now. I need to kill off the strategic asset of the artillery so it can't push me back out of these properties and take those over for him. So I'm going to break through right there. I'm going to sacrifice a tank and a half, basically, to kill off his artillery. It is almost certain to kill with the tank plus infantry. This is an initial low roll here, but still a good chance to just kill it. Well worth it, I think. So I get some kills there. And there, unfortunately, is T-Copter just to provide vision, to get a good interrupt there and deny him that capture. It sucks. It's not a great use of a T-Copter. I would rather have any other vehicle, but I'm trying to do the best I can with what I've got right now. And I don't see any tanks over here, so I'm now feeling, you know, this anti-air is probably safe. I can see a lot of ground here. I don't see any tanks. I'm sure he's got some, like, hereabouts, but, like, he is behind that income. He's going to be poorer than me somewhere. He's going to be short in vehicles somewhere. Maybe he doesn't have a tank here to punish this anti-air. I only see one more copter. I have one copter myself. I can probably not build another anti-air this turn. Probably I can get away with just building tanks and copters of my own and things like that and be okay. And I could really use an artillery here to lock down this property, which is otherwise going to fall under threat because I lost my artillery. So I get a little bit greedy then go for the artillery instead of building another anti-air. And that's going to be painful too, but not a disaster. You know, I'm looking like I'm well ahead at this point, but I know that's illusory. I'm going to lose these tanks. That was the sacrifice I was willing to make to kill off his artillery. And I know I did well over there, but that's temporary. What does matter, what is going to help me out over the long term, is just having that 3,000 income advantage. So, he just used that capture. He gets a great devastating first strike there, but he is exposed. You know, that tank's going to die. If you keep fighting over there, he will just keep losing units. Couldn't get that kill. You know, knew wouldn't be able to, so that's good for me. Does get a kill there. Great first strikes, all expected, except for this. That part was unexpected. Hope to have a tank there instead, but you know, not a shocker at least. But it does mean now he's got 2 copters, and I've got my anti-air basically dead. I didn't build another anti-air, so that's not great for me. Over here, I want you to note that he is bluffing. You know, he didn't send any vehicles over here, so he is still just helpless over here. If I just keep attacking, he's just done. He will just take all these casualties for nothing. So I think, is he bluffing at this point? I'm not sure, but I think he is. I know I'm ahead of him on value. He has to be weak somewhere. I don't know where, but he has to be weak somewhere. Given how strong he is over here and how I feel like psychologically until he's just focusing all out on this side, I bet he's weak over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that attack. I don't know if I love this artillery build here. I think a tank was probably more what he needed. He only has 1 tank here fighting against 1 tank. Again, if you build a second tank there, you're doubling your combat power. The artillery doesn't quite do that. It can't back this tank up in time. For the long term, it's nice to have, yes, but he is in a little bit of a crisis there. I might not feel like one yet, but it is a crisis. So I think that should have been a tank there, probably. Speaking of should'ves and so forth, I've been wanting to build a Neo-tank, and I just can't do it. He's applying too much pressure to me. So he's doing a great job there. I've seldom felt under this much pressure. I don't get my luck roll there, and that felt bad. Like, the chances of killing that recon were quite high, given that I already had some scratch damage, and I'm Hawke 5% attack power. I was unhappy about that. Alright, over there. Interrupt that capture. Opens up good terrain, I can attack there. I got good coverage of the city, he's welcome to keep fighting over there. I'm going to win. And here I'm just trying to trade off and buy time. You know, it's not great taking an even trade. I'm going to lose. I killed basically the copter, I'm going to lose a copter. That's not ideal. But if he keeps fighting over here where he's overextending and I'm ahead of him in income, I will win eventually. I can't do better than even trades. I'd like to, but I can't. So I'll just keep taking even trades, and that will let me win if he doesn't do something that will break the stalemate dramatically. Something else to note here. We both have a superpower available. I could totally have Black Storm this time, but that would be a horrible idea. You know, most global damage CO powers are completely mindless and boring. And Hawke's is too most of the time. But, in the Hawke versus Hawke matchup, there's actually an incentive to actually hold on to your superpower sometimes. And it's pretty obvious why I think. You know, Black Storm does 2 damage to all enemies, and you heal 2 of your own HP. So, if you Black Storm, reduce all the enemies down to 8 HP, and their turn they Black Storm, they heal back to 10 HP, undoing your Black Storm, and then hitting you down to 8, and you can't fix it. So whoever Black Storms first takes a massive disadvantage there. So the conventional wisdom is that it's best to just sit on your Black Storm, pretty much forever. That is not true. But it is a tricky choice, when to Blackstorm and when not to Blackstorm. And Palmer mentioned that he was not sure when to do that, and I guess I'll give my answer to that in a future answer. Here, I'm forced to have the infantry kill off that recon instead of killing something else. Anyway, over here, once again, the coin flip does not go my way. Once again, I'll get instant killed by his infantry. It's irksome. This anti-air is mostly bait. Like, I'm going to just put it in the force him to try to reveal it with something, and then kill it when it's only at 2 HP. It's not that important a target. That's my real hope there. Well, I tend to bring in another one. My T-Copter is worthless again because I had to last turn have it just give vision rather than going back to pick somebody up. So, worst T-Copter ever made. Alright, so Palmer could Blackstorm this turn, but he doesn't do so. And I think I mostly agree with not Blackstorming this time. I might have done it in his position. Maybe. No, I think he made the right choice not Blackstorm, looking at the map more carefully. He gets what he needs without it. I don't like this move though, because he knows he has no coverage. I don't know that, but like I just called his bluff before. What's to stop me doing it again? He knows he doesn't have backup over here. If I attack that tank with something, he's just going to lose it for nothing. He gets the kill again there. Walls up, but I can see him doing that. It would have been a better thing to have this tank be a little further back. What was it here? 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That would have been a good spot for it. I couldn't even have seen it get in position there. I would have thought it was there probably, but I wouldn't have seen it. Trades off my copter, so that's good for him. I see where his anti-air is. It's okay. I don't have really any areas myself, so I don't care that much about it. I don't love these attacks here. Like, the luck was went against him here. That helped me a lot, but I don't like taking that engagement to begin with here. It doesn't really give him much of a reward because that 1 HP anti-air is not doing much anyway. And having his infantry both risk going down to 9 HP really hurts his ability to capture me here. Because now he has no full HP infantry on this entire front of the map. And I kind of know that. Like, we've been trading pretty much evenly on infantry and vehicles so far. So I know if I run that infantry over here, basically, he's run that down here. These are his last two. So he now can't capture them, so I don't need to worry about anything over there. I can just beat these vehicles and then shift my attention back to the middle. And like, trading evenly, he's doing pretty well this turn, but every single turn, that 3,000 is just chipping him down as I just have the income with it. It's not a dramatic advantage, but it is just chipping away at him, and sooner or later that's going to bite. So I need to keep his infantry at full HP so that he could capture more things. I don't love this anti-air on this side here. I mean, I could have a copter over there, that is possible. But it's less likely than it is over here, and it's less important because he knows he's killed my infantry over here. So if I have a copter come over here and kill that tank, what difference is that going to make? I'm out of infantry, and he knows he's got to be out of infantry. He's threatening captures over here himself at this point. He's broken through so hard. So I don't love that. I think if he's building one, it should be over here instead. And here I go ahead and Blackstorm. Let me explain why I do that. So I thought, this turn looks pretty miserable. I can see his tank here, but I can't get to it very well. I can have this guy and that guy attack the thing, I can attack it once, that'll be an okay engagement, but if he has backup, which is quite possible, that's just bad for me. I'll now be doing what he was doing before. I'm trading too deep in his lines, trading off tanks 1 for 1. That's not great. Down here, my vehicles were wrecked. I have no counter to his copters again. I really feel bad about how I handled his copters this time. That's quite unlike me. So, that's not great. I know he can't capture them here, but he can kill my vehicles. I'm going to be forced to just pull back and do nothing and give him all the initiative. I don't like that. So what I did was I calculated out, like, what is the best move that I can see that doesn't involve Blackstorm? What is the net combat damage that I deal? What are the strategic implications of it? And the answer was, it is not good. I don't have good options here. Well, what if that's my baseline. But what if I Blackstorm? Well, any damage that I do to him, he can heal. But there are some exceptions to that. Infantry on his cities and bases, that's damage that's for keeps. That gets repaired, that gets sucked out of his economy before he can heal it with his Blackstorm, so that is real damage that he has taken. So, okay, that's like 4,000 value from, he probably built 1,000 worth of stuff last turn. Fine. That's 4,000 of real value that I do with Blackstorm. But there's another important thing too, which is that reducing his guys down to 8 HP, or lower,
and giving me bonus HP might allow me to kill a lot of guys. And a dead guy does not come back to 2 HP from 0, he's just dead. So if a Blackstorm unlocks a kill that's not otherwise available, that is damage that is also for keeps. And if you're just at 1 HP, that, I mean, it's not totally for keeps, but a 3 HP unit still is not very good. So that's some real damage too. And so I thought, okay, well, if I Blackstorm first, I can unlock a whole lot of kills and do a lot of value damage that I can't do otherwise. But I then have to take into account he will then Blackstorm me back, and I will take for real damage everywhere. Is that worth it? I did the math and netted it out, and the answer was yes. Although I want to say as a caveat here, the move planner lied to me about this. There's a bug in the move planner. When you hit the apply enemy superpower for Blackstorm, it applies everything correctly except for some reason not to the units that were on the base. So it gave me inaccurate numbers of what my value would be afterward, and I wrote it down in my calculations, so it misled me by about the value of 4,000 there, which is not great. But still, there's a big advantage for doing a Blackstorm here versus not doing one. The best move I could see. And it also does take the initiative out of his hands, very importantly. Now he will be forced to Blackstorm in response, rather than him having a chance to spot an opportunity to do a major Blackstorm and devastate me. So, here comes Blackstorm. So, superficial damage that he'll heal up most of, but it unlocks a lot of kills. So, that tank is going to just outright die. You might have been surprised to see me attack that tank rather than this tank, because if I attack this tank, you then have this tank go into the forest, kill that thing, but it's an order of operations thing. I had to have this recon stand here and kill that copter to clear a path, basically. And this anti-air has to be able to get through to that, and so it just made sense to do things this way, really. Because if I had not killed that tank, you know, this anti-air is blocked by a tank there and infantry there, and it can't get to this guy, and so it doesn't work. So I had to do it in this order, even though it does mean that this tank has to go over to, like, there or something to kill that tank, which is not great because it's close to his reinforcement lines. Anyway, I killed that guy, and now this is another place where I actually got real permanent value out of Blackstorm. Sure, I'll get nuked back down to 1 HP by Blackstorm, but like, I was at 1 HP to begin with. I got some real value out of being at 3 HP, even just for a little bit here, and taking that copper down. It's not dead, but even coming back to 4 HP with Blackstorm, it is still a heck of a lot less dangerous than the 9 HP copper that it used to be. So that is some real value there. Yeah, for sure going to die here because of Blackstorm 2. Now he's out of everything. I know he's got nothing left on this front. Now I'm threatening his captures down here, with a delay, but I am doing so. And I also know over here I can do a maneuver that'll be pretty great now. So, kill that guy. Now, he can still heal his 10 HP and then go for that Blackstorm. So go for that capture. But, I can now do this. I can break through, ruin that tank. If I high rolled, I would have killed it, but ruin that tank. And the great thing here is, I now know that I'm just blocking these infantry. This guy can't engage that guy. This guy can't get to that property. Only this guy can get to that property and capture it. And only he is threatening these properties or this infantry, so like he can't do everything at once. He either goes for the capture, or he kills his infantry, or he goes for these captures, but he can't do most of those things simultaneously. If he goes for the captures, I can just interrupt him. If he goes for this capture, I can interrupt him, at least for the short term. If he kills me, okay, I lost my last infantry there, and I will get pounded over here, but it's okay. I denied him the threat to make, good on these captures and get that thing at the same time. And I'm kind of doing a shift of my reinforcements now, like, I have one over here, kind of shift into the middle, then shift over there, and make some real progress at last. Here I load up and did not actually drop out. I want to have that infantry be at 10 HP. Units and transfers take no damage from Blackstorm. There's another slight advantage there. And I'll have another capture ready to go that way. Then start capturing these things out and know he's pretty much emptied out over there. And likewise, to save some money to reduce some Blackstorm damage, if I don't build things with that money right now, I won't lose 20% of it this turn. I can then build something big next turn, and then hopefully keep up the pressure. So, that was a great turn. I went from being... Let's see how it started. I started my turn behind by 11,000, down by 5 units. I'm ending the turn. I have, double his value at the end of the turn, and a lot more units than he does, and more income. So a great Blackstorm there, and so he just resigned. He couldn't come back from that. And I knew there was a real chance of that. I knew, as I said, he has to be dead behind the lines somewhere. He's been behind in income forever. Sooner or later, that 3,000 per turn means he will not be able to build a tank somewhere. And it finally happened, basically. So, that was a painful and difficult game. I think it was a lot of my worst mistakes that were worth talking about and going over here. And I think just a phenomenal game for Palmer. The best one I've ever seen Palmer play. Great job and great improvement overall. Palmer really seems to be on an upward swing and has been playing a lot better than before. So that's fantastic. Let's take a look at the stats. So yeah, this step, I'm ahead by about 28,000, 25,000, and that's all because of income, basically. I had a better capture order, and I had more income coming in steadily for just many turns, and that added up slowly. Damage-wise, before Blackstorm came in, we were pretty much even. It was about even numbers of deaths, even numbers of kills. Like, even at Blackstorm, he was going to be back ahead on value damage done, I think, after his Blackstorm. But he would have been behind overall on how much value he had on the field, and he would have been behind in positioning too. I think he had a better mid-game than me. I made some catastrophic mistakes, he made some good moves. I think I had a better early game than he did. I think I used intelligence about what he was doing to break the pipe scene a little bit better. I think I was smart to pass up on this commentary for a bit, just get greedy, and both that I could get greedy and capture more things in the middle. That was smart too. And I think I had a better late game. I had, the ability to lure him into fights over here that he could not win in the long term, and just kind of go even there, even though the initiative was on his side. And the income was going my way too. I had a good Blackstorm turn that was well thought through, I would say. But yeah, I'd say he did a great mid-game, and so it was one of my hardest matches. Well done. Thank you for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Illusory Thunder, Masternet DH, Jackie, Advanced Warrior, Gregory, William Wakefield, Kenny Boggs, Danny Hall, Jeffrey Morse, Supreme Crimson Leader, and Lino. Have a great day, everyone.